Thank you, Brett, for that introduction. I don't think I have enough time left now, but yeah, my wife and I, we're extremely excited to be here. We love getting to meet the students and the adult leaders yesterday and just be able to hang out with them. But just a little bit about me, my testimony. So I grew up in church. My mom made that a priority. I know you're going through Deuteronomy right now in your series of parents to their children and the influence. And so my mom had a great influence on my life. She made sure that we were in church every Sunday, every Wednesday, every event that our church had. And as I was growing up in my early years, probably around before I was 10 years old, I had just seen people come to the front to be saved. And so I thought that was the appropriate thing to do. And so I went down front, went through the whole process with the pastor and all those things. But as I was getting older, more mature in my faith, I started doubting my faith, not doubting if Jesus was real or not, but doubting that my salvation, because I was starting to grasp the gospel and who Jesus was and what he did for me on the cross. And so that started around middle school time, in early high school years. But I didn't do anything about that. I was, I guess, a stubborn kid, I guess. But junior year of high school is when things started to shift and a turning point in my life. My youth pastor on a Wednesday night gave the invitation, and he had the question of, if you left tonight and something happened, do you know where you would go? And I couldn't answer that question. And I knew that was a real issue, a problem, but still stubborn me, I didn't go down front to talk to anybody. I just met up with my friends after church, and we just figured out where we were going to go eat afterwards. And I remember going to my car to drive to the restaurant, getting in my car, starting it up, and just that question of, and I really believe it was the Holy Spirit just saying, Cason, if you left here and something happened, do you know where you would go? And I couldn't answer that question. And so turned my car off, went inside to find my mentor at the time, and he just walked me through the gospel. He told me what it was, what Jesus did for me. And I accepted Jesus Christ that night at 17 years old. And from there, God just really worked in me. I started feeling the call to ministry and really just putting that off. But I knew that students were what God was calling me to specifically. So I went to my undergrad pursuing the education route. And God quickly, or I guess it took some time, but last semester of my senior year of college, God worked on me. I was in a mission trip to New Orleans on spring break trip, and just being away from school, being away from all these other things that were going on, just being with the Lord, serving church planners, serving missionaries in New Orleans. God was working in me on that week, and the call to ministry came back in my life. And just long story short, I accepted the calling there in New Orleans. I can remember the exact spot I was when God called me to ministry, specifically student ministry. And so from there, I just been being equipped at New Orleans. I have a few more weeks left, and I'll graduate seminary. But during that time of being in New Orleans, a broken city, I've been able to prepare so well so I can go and serve. And God has just shown me the pivotal point in my life at age 17 when I finally grasped what the gospel was and gave my life to Christ and started following after him. And then in Tuscaloosa, I went to the University of Alabama. And so in Tuscaloosa at a church, that's when I started figuring out what discipleship was and people pouring into my life. And then here in New Orleans, just being prepared to be a student pastor currently in a broken city that has teenagers, doing all kinds of things. But being able to minister to those teenagers as a student pastor in New Orleans is tough. But God has prepared me so well. And Emily and I love student ministry. We love investing in students, discipling them. And one of the things I do, how I go about student ministry is really everything I do is for the glory of God. And I really feel I go about it as I'm the shepherd to my sheep. And so a shepherd leads, guides, and protects his sheep. And so that's how I try to do student ministry. I try to lead, to guide, and I protect my sheep. And so God has just been really working in me for a while, and ever since 17, learning about discipleship and then being equipped now for student ministry, God has really worked on me. I just want to say, if we haven't met you yet, me and Emily would love to meet you after the service. We have enjoyed being here with you all and meeting everybody so far this weekend. We have really appreciate you just loving on us already, and just being able to learn and hear about your stories. So again, just thank you for your time. Yeah.